The reason why we started to work with Pareto was simply because I didn't believe that we were giving it our all for the clients in which that we serve. We simply had systems that were fragmented, that weren't necessarily the most efficient, and they weren't documented, quite frankly, and they weren't fluent or dynamic in any way, shape, or form. It was very difficult for us to go back and look to determine where our strengths and weaknesses were within our delivery of not only through the acquisition process, but also through the service model itself. In fact, I had clients come to me prior to the relationship with Pareto and ask me about services that I thought that they were well aware of, and they simply weren't. We simply took it, you know, assumed, if you will, that people knew that we were a holistic financial planning firm, but oftentimes they simply just considered us their investment advisor, which was unfortunate and somewhat short-sighted. So when I started to learn that people really didn't understand that, I started to think, hey, we need some help here, right? We need to, hire a coach or get somebody to help us from the outside looking in to what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. So I was introduced to the playbook, the advisor playbook, and I read that book and I thought it was very dynamic and I thought it was spot on for where we were lacking and what we needed to do. So once I read that book, I immediately reached out to Pareto and said, hey, I want to learn more about how you can help us in our firm be more efficient and be more dynamic and really build out processes that are proven, right? So, and here we are today, and the relationship has been awesome, and we're a little over a year into this relationship, and we really implemented quite a bit of what Pareto suggested that we should do, and it's been awesome. Once we were onboarded with Pareto, we were introduced to our coach, Elaine. And I was very excited about our first conversation. First and foremost was because Elaine came across as a very patient, understanding, and just a tremendous listener to what it is that we were trying to accomplish. She really took the time to understand our challenges that we were having in our firm. She took the time to know our team members, spend time with our team members before we really started to engage in the total engagement process. So she had a really good background of who we were. So when we started to implement the processes with Pareto, she could provide a tremendous amount of feedback for us. She knew where our strengths were, where our weaknesses were, and really be able to hone in on those to help us better design these processes that would make us more holistic in our approach, better communicators with our clients, give our clients and our prospective clients a better understanding of who we were, what we're trying to accomplish, and quite frankly, have it all documented. So she has worked with us every step of the way. We meet every other week. We have discussions. We talk about what we should be building out for the next 2 weeks. And I'd send my team back to work on those for the next 2 weeks. And we would, get back together and we talk about what we did and where we were having some challenges. And she'd walk us through this, help us through that, willing to talk to our team members, at any time to make sure that they were well aware and keep them motivated to continuing to implement these programs. So she's been an integral part of the success that we have seen already in developing the Pareto system. So it's been an awesome relationship. When I start thinking about implementing the Pareto system, the first thing that came to my mind is what challenges that we would have as a firm in implementing this program. I was well aware that it was going to take some time, some effort. It was going to take the whole team to participate in putting this all together. And one thing that I am not afraid of is change, but not everybody feels the same way I do when it comes to change. And I knew that once I was going to deliver this message to our team, that there was probably going to be some pushback. And knowing that now they're going to have to spend time in helping to build out this program. So that was a challenge that I faced head on. And really, Pareto and Elaine, our coach, has done a wonderful job of helping us systematically build this out. So we've really overcome this challenge of buy-in from our team for a number of reasons. One, it was very, very methodical in building out the process. And each step in that process was very thorough. It was very detailed, and didn't take all that long for our team to buy in to saying, wow, this does make sense. They all participated in different pieces of implementation, and we met every week to discuss this. And we went back and everybody had a role in building this out. But very quickly, within the first couple weeks, people could see that this made a lot of sense. I mean, they started to understand that, having a process, having a documented process just allows people to understand, what their role is within the firm, which was absolutely awesome. And as we started to build this out and we started to use the program in front of prospective clients and seeing the results of that, it really kind of helped to overcome the challenge where people were going to have to spend time in helping to develop this, right? Because this is outside the norm of what they typically do throughout their workday, right? This is extra effort, right? This is extra work in which I was asking them to do, but they start to see the value in it. They start to see the results in what we were doing, and they became more engaged in that process. And it was just absolutely wonderful to see that take hold. And today, well into this program and fully implementing the processes, the acquisition processes, and all the things that we've done, everybody is 100% bought into that. And we're using it and we understand it. It just makes it a much better tool for us to be able to communicate who we are and what we're ultimately trying to be. So everybody's talking the same language. So we really overcame that challenge of that fragmentation of who we are and what is our identity. And this Pareto system is giving us this opportunity to overcome that challenge. And we really appreciate it. Now that we've implemented much of the Pareto system, there's been some tremendous success that we've already had even this early on in this implementation. And I would say the biggest success so far is the fit process. The fit process is designed to determine whether a potential client is going to be a good fit for our firm. We often hear through Pareto, we're not trying to be all things to all people. We want to be all things to some people. Prior to engaging Pareto, we tried to be all things to all people, right? And we found that it was very challenging to do that and really took away from some of our ideal clients, quite frankly. So the fit process now is a way for us to basically say no. Right? We don't take on everybody that comes to our door or gets introduced to us, right? We go through this process and we have a meaningful conversation about what is it you're ultimately trying to do, and is it going to be a good fit? And it's a two-way street. You're going to interview us, we're going to interview you, and we're going to come to an agreement whether it makes sense to continue to work together. This has just saved us a tremendous amount of time and effort and anxiety, quite frankly, because we were taking people on, we were going through what we had was somewhat of a process, but we would do a lot of work up front before we really had any type of commitment through a fit process, right? Now we no longer do that. It's amazing how much time we save, how much more efficient we are, and how we can really spend more quality time with the clients in which that deserve our time. That has been a tremendous transformation for us in our firm. Now, our clients that deserve us get tremendous service. New clients, when they do come on board, we know they're a good fit. They meet our 3A challenge. They have the assets. They have a great attitude. And they're really someone that really buys into a process, right? They're an advocate. So we go through this process today and they really understand what we're ultimately trying to accomplish, how we're going to help them, and does it really make sense for us to work together? So that has been a tremendous transformation for us. And I can't tell you that saying no to somebody is tough, no doubt, when you say it's just simply not a good fit, but it becomes easier when it happens, right? Because it's just that you can't simply take on everybody. And when you get introduced to somebody and you tell that person who introduced you that we can't guarantee that this person will become a client because, like you, we're going to go through this fit process. We're going to have a conversation to see if it's a good fit. But I will be here to answer any questions that they have. We will be a sounding board to help them, but I'm not sure if it's going to be a good fit for us from a client perspective. And people respect that. So that open line of communication is also much different than what we've had in the past. And before any work gets done, we have these meaningful conversations. And thanks to Pareto, we are doing a much better job at that.